Hi everybody, Mrs. Mozingo here to talk a little bit about oil pastels. Voila, c'est ça. And doing landscapes. So this is gearing up for one of our projects with older students. I'm going to open up. These are the ones that are the soft colors. Okay. So mainly pastels. That's what that means. And then here's a brand new set. Look at that. Can you guys smell that? Here, go ahead. Oh my gosh, that smells so good. It's crazy. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I am scavenging some paper that I had around in my house, and I wanted to, in my studio here at home, and I wanted to just talk about oil pastels and what they do. In class, we've been learning about all kinds of techniques, how to hold your oil pastel. This would be scumbling. This would be stippling. What happens when we start to add white to a color, right? So we've practiced with hard pressure, with light pressure, and then even with that adding of white. So we've got a lot of things. Oh, wow, look at that. That looks pretty awesome, not gonna lie. And then we've talked about, mixing a lot of different kinds of colors. Oh, I know, isn't that great? Seriously. Okay, now this is on white paper. Now we're going to do some experiments in class where we start to work with lighter paper, but I just wanted to even show you those same colors that I just used look very, very different on this paper versus this paper versus even this paper. So check it out. Even when I start to blend, depending if I'm going on top of that color or just on its own, top of the color or just on its own, color or just on its own. The cool part about oil pastels is that they tend to be opaque, so they're not transparent unless you're blending them very closely together. Okay, so for these, I'm doing that heavier pressure and I'm doing lighter pressure. Okay, that adding white, and then again, we'd kind of blend it a little bit more if that's your personal style. So on the different colors, it really makes a difference. So that's actually what we're going to experiment with. Just last class, we did a landscape view landscape. We used ebony pencils and we tried lots of different marking making techniques. For this one, I actually think I'm going to have my paper be in the upright position. I'm going to actually cut off this part right here. So we'll have rectangular pieces of paper available in class. All right, to work on this one today. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and I can just use a regular pencil. Ebony's would be a little bit too dark. So I'm just going to use this lighter pencil and I'm going to start to kind of sketch out a little bit of a landscape that I'll eventually want to show. And maybe I'll just kind of do a few clouds. We've kind of talked about a little about how we might show class. So I've got bigger, littler, and then the smallest, if you can see those. All right, so just really light picture. First thing that I'm going to start to do, I'm going to start to lay in some of this blue. So we know that darker color, oh, I can see, I might cut this off too. Yep, otherwise, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to kind of go around some of these clouds just a little bit. Okay, add in a little bit of blue. Okay, so I can start to blend. If I want to, again, do we care if we get some on the tabletops? Nope, just as long as we clean it up later. Okay. All right, same thing. I'm going to start to do that with the weights of the clouds. Okay, we'll just start to get some of those in right away. All right, now I'm going to start to use some of these lighter blues. And so just to kind of show you what I've got here, we've got a range right in class. So I'm actually going to grab maybe 2 of these to kind of bring them out because I want to see the difference. Okay, this one's kind of a nicer one. Now I know as it gets towards the horizon line here, the blues should get slightly lighter. Now, why did I choose pink paper to do this on? Because I wanted to have like a little bit of that color kind of peek out. A lot of times if it's white peeking out, it looks pretty bad. Looks pretty annoying, right? But I'm going to go ahead and start to clean this one off. You could do that with a paper towel also, or just like another piece. Now, if you notice that you need, watch this, I'm going to actually scrape some of that off. There's another white, aha! Same thing, I'm going to scratch some of that off. Remember that graffito? Okay, there. A little bit bigger on there. Okay, fabulous. Okay, I like that a little bit more. All right, now I'm going to start to add in some of these neutral colors. Now, for today, I want you to just kind of go with the natural look. We'll also try one that's not as part of the neutral colors. Neutrals are typically black, brown, gray, and white. And a lot of those colors, remember, we want to think that they're kind of boring, but in actuality, they kind of help us out a little bit. All right, so I'm going to start with kind of some greens, I think, back here. Just a little bit. So ultimately, here's what I'm trying to get from this particular exercise. I want you to play with what's kind of the actual color of the object. Okay, for me, these are going to be some of the hills, right? I want you to start to use some of the lighter colors for the highlights. Okay, we're going to start to look at what would be some of the lighter. Ooh, this is looking kind of cool. Okay, highlights would go on the very, very top, right? And then as I do this, I can start to even add in some white towards the top. And then as I go down, check this out. I'm going to start to, on the bottom part of this, I'm going to start to make this a little bit darker. Now, is this a perfect science? No. You're going to have to kind of go back and forth. I'm going to lighten this up a little bit more. And look at this. I might start to get a little bit more adventurous. I'm going to start to add in some yellow. Ooh, I really like that yellow. Maybe I want that for my highlight a little bit more. Oh, yeah. I like that. Now, I want you to think about what sort of textures you might start to put into your work. Okay, this is going to take a little bit of time today, but playing dark to light with the horizon line. And then check this out. In the foreground, in the very front, is typically darker in the front, and you're going to get lighter as you go towards the back. So again, some of those texturing techniques that we talked about, you could absolutely start to add those in to your work here. So we're going to take some time to start to get the lights and the darks in here. It's going to take a little bit, but that's okay. This is about progress and over perfection. Okay. All right. So good luck. Again, start by sketching it out. 1, 2, starting in the sky, starting with the blues and then going to the clouds. And then 3, start to add in darker values at the bottom and work your way up. Highlights and a lighter value on the top of a lot of these kinds of mountains. Again, skill building, we're going to make it. See you soon.